Oh, hey Santa!
Ho, ho, ho! Hello there, Jack. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks, Santa. And I'm really sorry to bother you right now, as I know this time of year is the busiest time of year for you right now. But I just had a very quick favour to ask.
Sure, what is it?
Okay, so I'm going to send over a video with a few suggestions of some holiday overlays that I think would be great at Walt Disney World. And I thought if anybody can make this possible for next year, it would be you.
Well, I'll see what I can do. How about that? But for now, Merry Christmas, Jack, and Merry Christmas to all of you Waltineers.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Santa. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you real soon.
Ho, ho, ho. Goodbye.
So traditionally, Disneyland Resort has been the home to Disney's holiday overlays, with the likes of It's a Small World Holiday, and of course the most famous of them all being Haunted Mansion Holiday. That sees that attraction taken over by Jack Skellington as Santa Claus from The Nightmare Before Christmas. However, Disneyland also has Halloween holiday overlays as well, such as Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy, and recently Guardians of the Galaxy Monsters After Dark. And the reason behind Disneyland receiving these types of overlays has always been that Disneyland plays to a local Californian demographic, and so these overlays are key to enticing those guests back for repeat visits throughout the year. Whereas over in Florida, Walt Disney World's target audience is predominantly nationwide and has huge international appeal. And so this means that no matter what time of year people choose to visit, they will want to have a consistent experience that they've come to expect. And in many cases, it will be a once-in-a-lifetime trip. But in recent years, we've begun to see specialised holiday overlays introduced at Walt Disney World, although the main difference is that they are nowhere nearly as extensive in altering the core attraction experience as that of the overlays in Disneyland. And so it's with that in mind, I'm going to outline 3 concepts that I would love to see, with the first holiday overlay concept probably needing the least amount of work to implement it, and that is the Jingle Bell Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, I'm not just saying that Disney should do this because of that name, but I'm also not saying that it's not the main reason, as we all know that Disney love a good puntastic name like this. But it does go beyond the somewhat superficial marketing. As you see, I think that Rock and Roller Coaster would make for another great holiday experience, and the evidence for that is derived from 2019. When Disney brought an exclusive holiday overlay to another roller coaster, but instead, this time it was Space Mountain at the Magic Kingdom for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. And needless to say, it was incredibly popular, with this overlay including a new cosmically infused Christmas soundtrack and a special lighting package as well. But there was an underlying problem plaguing this overlay. And it's because Space Mountain is over 40 years old, and over the years has become affectionately nicknamed by cast members as Breakdown Mountain. And particularly in recent years, it's been in need of a significant refurbishment to make the operation and dispatch more reliable. And so despite this holiday overlay ride profile being simple to switch over, the increased interest in Space Mountain made the attraction's usual operational downtimes more noticeable in causing delays to when the attraction would open throughout the Christmas party events. And so whether or not Disney decide to bring back this exclusive overlay for future years, I think an argument can be made to extend this approach and breathe new life into Rock and Roller Coaster for the holiday season, as it could even still feature Aerosmith, as they recorded Santa Claus is Coming to Town for a Disney Channel special that featured Lizzie McGuire, and potentially Disney could work with Aerosmith to record a special performance of Jingle Bell Rock for this holiday overlay. But if all of that wasn't possible, then it could just feature an instrumental score along the lines of Space Mountain instead, with Disney just licensing the rights to Aerosmith lead guitarist Joe Perry's Merry Christmas album for the soundtrack. And the reason why I'm suggesting that is so that the pre-show could remain exactly the same, with only the small addition of Christmas decorations in the recording studio, indicating that this concert is taking place just before Christmas, hence the Christmas soundtrack. and as we've seen for the Star Wars weekends and the premieres of new Star Wars movies, that it is possible to change out the countdown and lighting package for Rock and Roller Coaster with relative ease. So overall, I think the small expense it would take to create something like this makes this overlay a no-brainer for future years if Disney want to draw more of those holiday crowds to the other side of a park, to better complement the Sunset Season Greetings projections on Tower of Terror. And then sticking with Disney's Hollywood Studios, the next holiday overlay that I would love to see would probably require a little bit more work, but is definitely still doable. And that is Toy Story Mania. As this premise is so incredibly simple, I'm surprised that it hasn't already been suggested as a way of bringing more holiday magic to both Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney California Adventure as well, as this is what I would call Toy Story Christmas Morning Mania, where it wouldn't require any grandiose decorative elements to be installed or physical theming within the queue to change, although that would be beneficial if it did. But instead, only the core of the attraction would need to be switched over, and that is the ride's digital game profile. Now of course, this is a much larger undertaking than what it first seems, as this would require Imagineering to work closely again with Pixar to generate all new Christmas graphics and user interface elements and environments for this holiday overlay. But I'm not suggesting building entirely new game profiles, which would be very expensive and time consuming, but instead I'm talking more about a reskinning of the existing game interfaces, so that it would deliver a Toy Story Mania experience where it would have the same levels of difficulty and all the same tips and tricks would work, but the visuals and the graphics would be very different. As to begin with, the practice round featuring Buzz and Jessie could take place in front of a Christmas tree with tons of presents at the bottom, with the story concept being that we're going to be playing with the various new playsets that have just been unwrapped on Christmas morning. So for an example, the Ham and Eggs barnyard scene could be reskinned and rethemed to the Battle Source action figure playset from the short Toy Story That Time Forgot. Or another example could be that the game setup of the balloons in Dino Darts would work well for a Buzz Lightyear Ball Laser Blast game set. But not every scene and game setup would need to be as highly skinned, as additional decorative graphics to existing sets like the Rootin' Tootin' Shooting Gallery would help bring a new holiday feel to the attraction for the festive period to match the rest of Toy Story Land's holiday overlay and decorations. And then lastly, we come to the holiday overlay that I would love to see more than anything else, as it would bring more festive cheer over to Epcot. And no, I'm not about to suggest ugly holiday sweaters for every single animatronic inside Spaceship Earth, but instead, this idea involves the Land Pavilion, as already this features one holiday overlay, with the debut of Living with the Land's Merry and Bright Nights in 2019. So why not go one step further and transform the main attraction of the Land Pavilion and turn Garden Grill into Garland Grill instead? Okay, fine, I'm just messing about. But seriously, I would love to see a Soarin over the holidays. Now of course, this would probably be the most costly holiday overlay out of all of the conceptualized projects I've suggested in this video. But much like Toy Story Mania, this Soarin' over the holidays overlay could also offer double bang for its buck by also coming to Disney California Adventure as well, thus offering that park a special holiday attraction to help draw more guests away from the much busier Disneyland park during the festive season. However, for the creation of this special show film, I wouldn't advocate for a return to the old way of filming like what was done for Soarin' over California, which many fans are correct in saying is far superior to Soarin' around the world, and its bendy Eiffel Tower from the sides of the attraction. But instead, I would actually make the argument that ultra photorealistic CGI has progressed so far since then with things like The Lion King, that this overlay could be achieved to much higher standards through digital recreation aided by reference material, maybe filmed on drones. But for this overlay to happen, realistically Disney would not use practical filming techniques and would opt for a more cost-efficient measure like digital recreation. And then we come to the next element about this, and that is, it would require the attraction to be reprogrammed for a new show film, which would mean that the attraction would have to go down for a fairly lengthy refurbishment. But once completed, then the application of the holiday overlay for future years would not require that much refurbishment time for the switchover, with it possibly being as short as a week or so. But now that we've addressed those issues, let's discuss what it could include. as it would not just show how Christmas is celebrated around the world, but also other seasonal holidays like Diwali, Hanukkah, and could even begin with Dia de los Muertos if the overlay debuted for October, so that it could represent the Latin American holiday that takes place around late October to early November. So depending on whether the Day of the Dead would be included or not, it could begin at night time, gliding over the beautiful candlelight of the ofrendas, similar to this scene from Coco. Then the Aurora Borealis could be used as a colourful transition over to Norway, which could take us gliding above a forest of Norwegian spruce. But then a snow flurry would act as a transition to us going down a ski slope like what was seen in the original Soarin over California, but this time it would be the Swiss Alps. And then as we eclipse the mountaintop, day would then turn to night. And over on the other side of the mountain, we would soar over a Bavarian Christmas market in Germany, which would then transition on over to India with the Hindu, Jains and Sikh celebration of the Festival of Light with Diwali. And then with the use of the fireworks as a transition, we would glide in and over Jerusalem in Israel with the lighting of the menorahs along the Western Wall. However, at this point we would then travel across the ocean as it would fade to black, and suddenly we would be soaring toward New York City and down towards Central Park with all sorts of festive activities taking place below, including ice skating, before one last snow flurry would see us soar over Disneyland or Epcot depending on where the attraction is based, with the parks being all decked out for Christmas in only the way that Disney can do, and instead of Tinkerbell at the end, we would see Santa's sleigh fly above Sleeping Beauty Castle or Spaceship Earth to complete the show film. But of course, this is just a rough idea of what could be included, and is in no way a perfect set of locations or sequences for the show film, although I do think it holds a lot of potential to create a new experience that could run every single year for at least 3 months. And to be honest, it's better than my initial idea, which was for a Santa Claus sleighing over Christmas, which probably wouldn't have as much longevity, and the lack of various locations would become a little bit repetitive. So I think Soarin' Over the Holidays would make for a much better overlay to bring to both Disney California Adventure and Epcot. So those are my ideas for what I would love to see in the way of holiday overlays coming to Walt Disney World in the next few years. But now, it's over to you, the Waltineers. I would like to know, what are your thoughts and opinions about the holiday overlays suggested in this video, and which ways would you tweak them or make them even better? And also, I would love to hear your suggestions for your very own holiday overlays that you would love to see at the Disney parks. And of course, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere in this video, along with your suggestion or your comment, to be in the chance to win one of these official DSNY Newscast enamel pins. And congratulations to this Waltineer here for me this suggestion from a previous video where we were talking all about the new content coming to Disney+. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to this channel, hit that notification icon so that you always receive an update whenever I release a new video, and if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.